Devaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashtaprayashu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ Bhāgavata-sevayā Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Durlabhamanasho Deho Dehinam Shanabhangurai Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priyadarshina Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Aradheyo Bhagavan Vishnu Aradheyo Bhagavan Vrajeshatanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachitupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Va Kalpita Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Pramanam Prema Pumartho Mahan Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu Matamidam Tatradhara Napara Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. We are reading today Canto 10, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, chapter 23, entitled the prayers, the Brahmana Patnis or the Yajna Patnis blessed. And we were reading yesterday or day before about how to develop attachment to Krishna. And a beautiful verse came which says, Shravanad Darshanad Dhyanam, by hearing, by seeing, and by meditating upon Krishna. Mai bhavo anukirtanat, we develop attachment, we develop affection, we develop love towards Krishna. Na tatha sani karshena, not by mere physical proximity. Not by mere physical proximity, but pratiyata tato griham. Therefore, don't try to change your situation artificially. Don't try to jump to someone else's situation. Go back to your home, go back to your place, and keep doing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Dhyanam. And in that way, you will develop more attachment to me or love in separation than mere physical proximity. So having instructed thus, Shukdev Goswami mentions that the Brahmana wives returned back and their husbands were not inimical, or they were not envious, or they did not see any faults. That why did you, or they did not question, hey, why did you go there? Why you didn't listen to us? All that stuff did not happen. Let's read further, text 35. Tatraika vidrita bhrata, tatraika vidrita bhartra, bhagavantam yatha shrutam, hridopaguhya vijahu, deham karmanubandhananam, deham karmanubandhanam. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Avicharana Arvind, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One of the ladies had been forcibly kept back by her husband. When she heard the others describe the Supreme Lord Krishna, she embraced him within her heart and gave up her material body, the basis of bondage to material activity. Purport: the lady described here was especially devoted to Lord Krishna. Upon giving up her material body, she immediately attained a spiritual body and left the sacrificial arena to join the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Wow. So, just to give the context here, looks like many of the ladies their husbands, they verbally said not to go. Their fathers, their uncles, their other relatives said not to go. But somehow they were determined that no matter what may come, we will go. Resolute. But what to do if someone, was physically might be restrained, was forcibly, as mentioned here, one of the ladies had been forcibly kept. Maybe, he locked the door or what happened. We don't know, but somehow by force, she was not allowed. But somehow the other, when she, talking about Shravana, Darshana, Dhyana, when she heard the glories, when she heard other ladies, she heard the others. Now others have come back, and now they are describing what they saw. Basically, Krishna's beauty. They're describing the Krishna's beauty, right? And this is real love in separation. She could not keep her body. In the heart, she embraced Lord Krishna, the eternal lover of all, the eternal well-wisher, the eternal husband, the eternal father, mother, friend, everything. She embraced him. Him means Krishna within her heart, and gave her material. Ultimately, this body, anyways, will just be, from ashes to ashes, from dust to dust. There's like 5 lecture series by His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, from dust to dust. We came from dust, the body comes from dust, and the body goes to dust. But what is the eternal thing? The connection with Krishna. And so she gave up her material body, but she got a spiritual body, and that body eternally serving Krishna. So when a devotee leaves a body, actually, this is not a big cause of lamentation. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, why a saintly person, should not, a wise, Dhiras tatra na mohyati. A dhira does not get bewildered by the change of the body. Because for a devotee, actually, we celebrate disappearance day. Right? Sometimes in the temple, there is like a feast or disappearance day, we celebrate. Now one may say, well, disappearance day, which in common language is say this day, this person died, right? Death day. It's like a death day, right? If we say in common language. But actually it's not death day, it's the day they are connecting back to their eternal service. It's like spiritual, they're going back home, back to Godhead, to serve Krishna eternally there. Their real home, right? At Griha Pravesh, are people happy or sad? Right? People are happy. Oh, I'm going back to my new home. Of course, this home is material temporary home, which will also go to dust at some point, or we will go to dust if the home doesn't. Prabhupada said, either the gardener is gone or the flowers are gone, right? So either the home will go or we will go. Either one of things will happen for sure. But going back to real home is a cause of joy, right? So this basically shows how deep that love of that gopi must be. How deep that she embraced Krishna in the heart, dhyana, completely absorbed, and then gave her body. And of course, whatever state we quit our body, right? Who knows that verse? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tijanti anta kalevaram tam tameveti konteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Anta kalej shamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhava yati parthanu chintayan. 8.5, 8.6 of Bhagavad Gita. Very important verses. Whatever state we give up our body, we enter that state. If we are thinking of material things, we'll become that. If we'll like, like if you're thinking, oh, how I could enjoy maybe snow in Alaska, maybe we'll become a penguin there, right? Or if I'm thinking how I could enjoy the delicious mango, the summer mangoes from Nagpur, the best, maybe we'll become an ant in that mango tree, right? But here, what was her thought? While she was giving up her body, completely embraced Krishna within her heart and gave up her material body. So Very, very high, elevated soul. Any thoughts here? Any comments?
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji. Sorry, I'm in a laundromat. I think it's a bit loud, but can you compare and contrast, I guess, the love that this Brahmana's wife has versus like that of a gopi? Like, because she just immediately, like, just upon hearing that she sort of had missed this experience, she immediately just left her body. This is amazing to me. So how does this differ, and how is it also alike to like what the gopis experience, which I also have no idea about? So I just would like your view on the nuances of this. Hare Krishna.
I'm very small to comment on these elevated subjects, but one thing is there. Someone's deep connection with Krishna is a very personal thing, especially when we talk about these like topmost Vrajavasis. And amongst the Vrajavasis, we're talking about Madhurya Rasa. That's like the peak of the peak, right? His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu was recently in Farmington, and he was talking about Mother Yashoda. And he said that in Vraja, all the toppers are there. And this word may be new to in American dictionary. Toppers means like the first division or the first rankers in a class. Like Madhurya Rasa topper over there, Vatsalya Rasa topper over there. All the rasas toppers are in the Vraja. And in those rasa, sometimes this hierarchy, like one devotee asked that question, like when we talk about hierarchy, we often compare. For example, like a CEO in the company has a better salary and a better position than a entry-level worker, right? Of course. And a manager has a better salary, better benefits than a junior employee. Then the director has more benefits and more salary than the the manager. So hierarchy often creates division. But in Vraja, it's not like that. When we say Madhurya Rasa is highest, it's not a material hierarchy, he explains it. So it is not that the peacocks are thinking, oh, how I wish I was also a gopi. It's not that the friends of Krishna are thinking, of course, they may sometimes dress like a gopi just to enhance the rasa, but they're not comparing, oh, right, why I'm not a gopi. Although sometimes the gopis also say, like, how I wish I had a male body, right? Sometimes they have this conversation so that I can be with Krishna during his playful pastimes also. But this is not a material comparison. So it's very hard to say about the love of the gopis, which is like the topmost. And sometimes the gopis, when Krishna was leaving, actually Krishna never left Vrindavan. Krishna never left Vrindavan. But it's a long topic actually. And but when he went to Mathura, the gopis said, now we are dead. We are dead. Just, the body is moving, but we are dead. Because Krishna has left, our life and soul has left. But why are we not able to give up our body? Because what to do? Because Krishna has told he'll return. So just to please him, for that day, we are keeping our body also alive. These are very elevated topics, and I am just theoretically speaking whatever little I have heard in this connection. And that's also connected to Rath Yatra, because they're bringing gopis, they're bringing back Krishna, and their meeting is happening. It's another beautiful episode. So sometimes we see that this happens, that they give up their body before. Sometimes they keep it because the Krishna wants them to keep. Like it also reminds me of Srila Narottam, actually this happens in many spiritual masters story. Like Ramanujacharya also this happens. Like Ramanujacharya was a great acharya in the Sri Sampradaya about 1,000 years back. he knew when he is going to give up his body, because great souls know past, present, and future. They can tell. And he said, all the disciples says, Gurudev, if you give up your body, then what's the purpose of us living? And then he took a promise from every disciple of his that you are not going to give up your body, because I'm going to give up my body very soon. But they could not, bear his separation. Then when he was living, he was present, he said, okay, make a deity. Then they made a deity of Ramanacharya while he was there, right? So, and basically said, if you're worshiping this deity, I'm always with you, right? So there are multiple connections. I mean, I think maybe I drifted from your original question. So contrasting the love is very hard, because if someone is like, like His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj was saying this, okay, who is the best amongst the Vatsalya Rasas? Mother Yashoda, absolutely no doubt. Who's next? Rohini Mata, right? And like that, there are Kunti Maharani was giving class on Kunti Maharani. He said Kunti Maharani's number comes at number 8. But that number 8 is like, we are like maybe 8 zillion. Even if we count 8 zillion souls, or Krishna's creation is infinite. So even 8 is like way, way, way up, right? Like in a very, like if you say, oh, in the country he is the 8th best student. Oh my God, that's a big achievement, right? In a country, if you are 8th ranker in a class, in the whole country, or in a competitive exam, even in this tiny country, right? It's a big thing. What to speak of the... So yes, we may think like this, okay, that gopi's love is a little more, or this gopi's love is a little more, or she gave up her body. But they all are so exaltedly brilliant in their love and affection. And there is no competition. Only competition is healthy competition. There was a class recently in Farmington Hills. My wife asked a question in the Bhagavatam class. Can we use envy in Krishna's service? Right? We often say, oh, envy has to be kicked out. She asked a question to the Prabhuji who was giving a class. Can we use? So Prabhu replied nicely. I like the response that yes, it can be used in a good way to have healthy competition, right? Healthy competition. And what's healthy competition? Let's say Vikant Prabhu is doing a lot of seva. I see him, so I'm just taking his name. And if I feel, oh, why is he doing so much seva? Let me do something so that he does less seva. That's unhealthy, bad, right? Trying to pull someone down. But see, taking inspiration, oh Krishna, please empower me also so I can do that much seva. But please empower Vikant Prabhu more so he can continue to do more and more, and he always becomes a role model for me. It's not that I want to overtake him. That's unhealthy. I want to show the world that I do better service than Vikant Prabhu. But Krishna, you empower me so I can also do more, but you empower more Vikant Prabhu so he always, does more than me. This is real, good, healthy competition. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you for that. I wasn't, when I said contrast, I wasn't so much thinking about ranking. I was just sort of in my own head, I was thinking like the gopis, they had this personal relationship or personal interaction with Krishna when he was up in the tree. I obviously haven't read much further than that. But and then these brahmanas' wives had a little bit, but then they got sent back into separation. And he said in the previous verse that this is actually not by physical proximity, but by separation and remembering me, chanting my name, and Shravanam, Kirtanam, Dhyanam, and I think I forgot one, Darshanam. This is how you'll attain me. And then when they get back, there's this one brahmana's wife who not only did she obviously didn't have as much personal interaction as the gopis did, but she didn't even have as much physical interaction as the other brahmana's wives. She had the least amount of physical interaction. All she had was separation. And then when she got back, it was like compounded separation, because these other brahmanas' wives, like she had to hear about how, and so she got like exponential separation, and then she just embraced Krishna in her heart, and then she just like left. It's just like, so what I was more thinking about is like what this I've heard so much about separation, but here is like such a compounded and shining example of what Krishna says is obviously true, but like here it's really true in this woman's case, because that compounded separation, she just sort of like it doesn't seem like she intended to leave her body. It seems like she's in that sort of, in that compounded separation, she just was immediately like taken to on the spiritual level. So I was just wondering about, yeah, that separation. She just felt the separation so much that she immediately left, which sounds nothing short of miraculous. So yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes, love in separation is the highest. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your thoughtful comments. Any other thoughts anyone has? So we'll read the next verse, text 36. Anyone would like to read this text?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, everyone, and pranam. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Text 36. Bhagavan api Govindas Tinaivanena Gopakan Chaturvidan Vidhena Shavitva Swayam Cha Bubhuji Prabhu. Translation by Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Devotees ki jai. Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, fed the cowherd boys with that food of 4 varieties. Then the all-powerful Lord himself partook of the preparation. Please explain, Vijay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So going back, little back, I hope everyone recollects the story. First, Krishna sent his friends to take food from the Brahmanas, and they were rejected, right? The Brahmanas did not give much attention, and these gopis find them. Krishna, they come back. We're not going to read all the verses, but they come back. Krishna tells them, well, we are yachikas. Like sometimes if a beggar asks, the master may not give something, and book distribution inspiration. We are yachikas. We ask someone, hey, would like to take this book? And they say, no, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Right? We pray good for them too. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Right? We don't have to take it very personally. Why he didn't say, why he said no. Right? Krishna is teaching this, right? The yachika, sometimes we may ask someone for, would you like to help to build a temple and to donate for a temple or donate for Janmashtami or donate for some cow protection. And they may say, no, I'm not interested in this. Okay, that's fine, right? So finally, Krishna, guides them and says, go to their patnis. Brahmanas were too busy in all these yagyas and mantras and tantras and forgot the essence of to serve Krishna. So finally, they went to the Brahmana Patnis, and they gave everything, right? That's not generally what is given to the yachikas or the beggars. They gave the best quality and the quantity. So here the word is used, chatur vidhena, chatur vidhena ashritva. So what does chatur vidhena mean here? Can anyone tell?
4 types.
4 types. Very nice. Can you elaborate? Okay, that's the literal translation. Chaturvidha. What does it mean? 4 types. What are the 4 types?
So in Sishtastakam also, please correct me if I'm wrong, while we are offering prasad to Bhoga to Prabhupada, and Krishna, we offer food in such a way that he 4 varieties, one licking, one drinking, and one eating, chewing, and the other one I don't remember, Prabhu. What?
Sucking, not
Sucking? Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. So, so we have to offer all the 4 varieties, so that with a happy mood.
Very nice. Very nice. Yes. These are the 4 kinds of foodstuffs, right? And I think we discussed this while we were talking before, that what the food was given. So now the food was given by the Brahmana Patnis. Then this episode happens, they come, they talk to Krishna, all that. So now they have gone back. Shukdev Goswami shared a little bit what happened there. They were invited, no one said anything, and shared one instant of a special gopi, special instance highlighted, and then camera shifts back to Krishna. You see, the expert director, the expert. You see how the camera shifts from the Krishna to the, back to the scene at the Yagyapatnis. This is the real movie, right? If we watch it, like this is like a movie, right? If someone is inspired to make videos and TikToks, and this should be the topic, right? So then the camera shifts back to Krishna and in the forest. So what are they doing now? They are honoring food. They're honoring the food which has been given. The 4 kinds are drunk, the ones which are drunk, some are chewed, some are licked, and some are sucked. So this is the 4 kinds of food. Charvya, Chusya, Lehya, and Peya. Sanskrit names. Right? Charvya, Chusya, Lehya, and Peya. Charvya means chewing, right? Chusya is licking. And Peya is drinking, right? And Lehya is which is licked or sucked, is basically Lehya, tasted with the tongue. The prasad which is chewed, the prasad which is licked, the prasad which is tasted with tongue. Chusya is licked, and Lehya is sucked, and one which is drunk. Why are we discussing this? Someone say, well, this doesn't seem important. Well, it's in our scriptures. So we sing in the Mangalarti. Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavat Prasado Swadvana Triptan Hari Bhakta Sangan Kritvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Bande Guru Shri Charana-ravindam. So the spiritual master offers these 4 kinds of meaning, 4 kinds of offerings to the Krishna. And when he sees the disciples are relishing these, honoring, relishing, we don't eat prasad, we relish, it's Krishna, we honor, we should avoid saying, oh, I'm going to eat prasad, right? We should try to say honoring prasad, right? Did you honor prasad? We'd like to honor prasad, let's honor prasad, like things like that. So, because prasad is not different from Krishna, and when the Guru sees that the disciples are happily in good Sangha, relishing, honoring Krishna Prasad, he's very happy. This is the meaning. So the 4 types of foodstuffs, or prasadam, bhoga. Bhagavan api govindas tenaiv annena gopakan. There's a book in the management circles called Leaders Eat Last. Well, this is coming from Bhagavatam. Krishna is the servant leadership. This topic comes a lot in the management circle. Servant leadership, servant leadership. Krishna is showing this. Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord, is the master of all, the highest position, uncomparable, and he's always God. Today one is CEO, today maybe one was president of the company, tomorrow he can become a pauper, right? But Krishna is eternally God. He was, and he will be. But what is he saying? First offering to anena. That means to others, to other, he offered food, anena, gopakan, to the other cowherd boys, to his friends in short. And when they were satisfied, swayam cha bubujhe prabhu, the Almighty Prabhu. See, Shukdev Goswami is using Prabhu, the master, when addressing Krishna. To Anen Gopikan, it did not use that. So all these are also important details sometimes to know, that every word, is used for Krishna has a meaning in the Bhagavatam. Then he ate after feeding everyone. After feeding, the all-powerful Prabhu took some part of the preparations. So Bhagavatam is not, people may know less about Bhagavatam, but people will know more about that book, Leaders Eat Last, right? There's a very famous book in the management, so, but it's actually coming from there. Basically, this is what our saintly kings, Raj Rishi, will also do. Any examples clicking in your mind? Very famous story, very, very famous story. Amrish Maharaj, right? And there was someone, that Ekadashi Vrata was there. And then there was someone, he came. And then first Amrish Maharaj had already fed. He was fasting since 1 year for the benefit of the praja or the kingdom. 1 year had passed, the day to break fast had come. And suddenly Durvasa Muni. So he had already served all the brahmanas, all the audience, all the public. And then he was about to eat, about to break his fast. And then comes Durvasa Muni. Just think about, just put ourselves in that situation. You're hungry, really hungry, right? Really hungry, and about to eat. The plate is ready in front of you. Think about it. The plate is ready. Nice preparations. Of course, he's a king. He has served everyone nicely. Of course, tired also, right? And then comes the great Muni. Very happily, he serves him first. Or that's the whole story. Like, we're not going there. He's in dilemma, should I eat, should I not eat? The Durvasa Muni goes. But the point here is that we want to communicate is that, again, he was not the first to eat, but he was the last to eat. The leader of the family, is generally considered the husband or the father. In the Vedic culture, what do we generally say? Oh, first feed to the old, the kids, the ladies, and then the men, if something is left. Why? Leaders eat last. No. Not first. Nowadays it's opposite. Anyways, back to Bhagavatam. So Lord Krishna first fed everyone and then took the 4 types of prasadam offered by the gopis. Any other thoughts anyone has? Any comments in this text or the previous? Okay, let's go to the next one, 37. Anyone?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Text 37. Evam lila narvapur nrilokam shilayan reme go gopa gopinam ramayan rupa vakritya. Translation by the disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Thus the Supreme Lord, appearing like a human being to perform his pastimes, imitated the ways of human society. He enjoyed pleasing his cows, cowherd boyfriends, and cowherd girlfriends with his beauty, words, and action. So here Supreme Lord teaching teaches the how to feed, how to serve prasadam, and that way he is actually teaching the society. That's why he is imitating the ways. As well as Supreme Lord also wants to forget that he is the Supreme Lord, and he also wants to enjoy with his devotees. That's also another rasa Supreme Lord wants to relish. That's why he is also acting like a human being. Back to Prabhuji, please correct me if I say anything wrong.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. Evam Leela Naravapur. So his body, the word uses transcendental body. Naravapu, Nar means human being. He seems to be, like acting like ordinary human beings do. Anushilanam, he's imitating. Not always, but sometimes, like playing with friends, playing with cows, sometimes teasing the gopis, playing pranks with them, stealing butter, all these janma karma chamedev, which often leads ordinary people to misunderstand him as ordinary person. Avajananti mam muda manusham tanum ashritam. The fools deride him or misunderstand him when he comes in the human form. That's what is very clearly mentioned, appearing like a human to perform his fasting. So he is not just an ordinary human being like you and I. The body is Satchidananda Vigraha. Even when he comes here, it's not that his body is Satchidananda in the spiritual world, but here he has a mortal body. No. His body is always Satchidananda Vigraha. And enjoying Reme Gopa Gopinam. Such a beautiful poetry also here. If someone likes poetry, right? Gopa Gopinam. Go cows, Gopa, cowherd friends, boyfriends, and Gopi, cowherd Gopi, cowherd girlfriends. Gopa Gopina. Gopa Gopina, Gopinath, Govardhan, Gokula. So many words with the word go. Ramyan Rupa Vak Krita. With Vak, with this Rupa, Vak, and Krita. He would, with his Rupa or beauty, Vak with his words, and Krita with his actions. So basically, these are the special 4 aspects of Krishna's. We're not here all the 4, but Krishna's 4 additional qualities: Rupa Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, Prema Madhuri. Venu means flute, Rupa means beauty, extraordinary beauty. Leela Madhuri. Leela is also actions, right? Like Lord Vishnu would not, play with his friends. Nursing, they would not, do grazing of cows, right? He'll come for Leela and they'll just wrap up and go. But Krishna, Rup Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, and most importantly, Prema Madhuri, his unalloyed pastimes with unalloyed devotees, with unalloyed prema. That's Krishna, who appears to be like a human being. Any more thoughts, suggestions, comments here? Okay, let's read one more verse. So this chapter is, as you see, by reading this, it kind of also hints that this chapter is kind of wrapping up, right? Right? Are you getting this hint? So we see towards the end of the chapter. This chapter is the topic is Krishna has done most of the things, that meeting with Brahmanas, or friends meeting with Brahmanas, then meeting with the Brahmana Patnis, then the partaking of prasadam. Let's see. There are a few more verses. Let's see how much we can read today. 38. Someone wants to read?
Hare Krishna, I can take it up.
Yes, please, Mata.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Atanusmrutya viprastate anvat. Sorry, I'm seeing Hindi. Let me see in English actually. Atanusmrutya vipraste anvatapyang kritagasa yad visvesvarayar yacham ahanmanur vidambaho. Translation. The Brahmanas then came to their senses and began to feel great remorse. They thought, "We have sinned, for we have denied the request of the two lords of the universe, who deceptively appeared as ordinary human beings." Do you want me to continue purport? Okay. Purport. Lord Krishna and Lord Balarama did not try to deceive the Brahmanas. They straightforwardly requested food from them. Rather, the Brahmanas received themselves as indicated by the Sanskrit word nirvidambhayo, which means that Krishna and Balarama are bewildering for an ordinary human being who considers them also to be human. Still, because the wives of the Brahmanas were great devotees of the Lord, the foolish Brahmanas received spiritual benefit and finally, I can't see that. Finally, for some reason, finally came to their senses.
Thank you so much, Veena Mataji, for reading this nice verse.
Hare Krishna.
So, the Brahmanas who were busy doing yajna, they had a moment of realization, right? That we did a mistake. And they're feeling remorse. They're feeling that they did something wrong. That's like His Grace Vishika Prabhu was mentioning, often life can even just pass without even we feeling that. Like we may make a mistake, but if we are not carefully analyzing like our life, then we may pass on doing things without and making mistakes and never ever realize that we made a mistake. Someone who is not, the first step is reflection. Is someone who's not reflecting upon one's own activities, actions, or doing some kind of analysis. Oh, I spoke this, and how this comes when we are cautious, when we are cognizant that no one should be hurt by my words or actions, right? We have a genuine desire. I don't want to hurt anyone. And if we feel something was a little off, right? Like recently, like we had a kids class, and in the kids class, I said a word, and if everything was fine, everything was okay, but later I realized that maybe I should have not said that word. It was a very minor thing, and I was talking to my wife and thinking, and like what do you think? Is it okay to say, or maybe I should, do something like? And I was like we spent like 30 minutes talking about that. Nothing, but that comes when we are genuinely thinking, right? Mistakes to err is human, right? To err is human. We may make mistakes, but we should reflect upon that. And once we reflect and realize that we made something wrong, the next step is remorse, right? The 4 R's of fixing: reflection, remorse, or there should be some remorse. It's not just sorry, like, are we speaking it from the heart, right? It means we have a remorse that, Prabhu, I hurt you. I didn't mean to, but somehow I was in a bad mood and I didn't realize what I spoke, and I probably hurt you, and please forgive me. I will be very cautious next time and never repeat this. Right? That, we really mean it. That's much different from just saying, hey, sorry, probably, not being defensive, but having a remorse. So we reflect upon it. We have some remorse or regret, same thing, right? Then what? Regret, repent, right? Same thing, remorse, regret, repent. Then what? What's the 3rd R? Is rectification. To rectify it. How do we rectify? Let's say I said something wrong to Iskcon Prabhu and I realized it, or reflected upon it. I realized I had some remorse. I should have not said this. Then I rectify by genuinely, if things can be fixed. For example, it depends what the mistake was. If it can be fixed, try to fix it. If it cannot be fixed, words out of the mouth, it cannot undo those, right? Then genuine apology and next time being, So rectification followed by 2 other R's. Can anyone tell what are the 2 other R's? So we covered 4. Okay, let's write those down because this is a very important subject, and this is very practical too. So what's the first R?
Removed.
No, before remorse there is reflection, right? If we don't reflect, then remorse will not come. We'll not even realize we made a mistake, right? So first we have to reflect or realize. Reflection, then realizing our mistake, right? We realize. And when we realize we did something wrong, then there should be remorse or some kind of repentance or something, right? Regret. Why I did that. What else? What's the next step?
Rectify.
Rectification, yes. Rectify. What's the next 2 R? The 6 R formula. What do you think?
Reconciliation. Is that one of them?
Reconciliation, rectification, I think similar. They would reconcile means rectify sometimes. Depends on what the mistake was. If we hurt someone, then we should reconcile. If we broke something, let's say I broke, Prabhu's lamp, then maybe I should buy a new one to fix it, something, right? So depends on what mistake was. And remember, we should not just keep making the same mistakes all the time. We should remember. And the last, when we remember, we repeat not. Repeat not. Try our best to not repeat it. So these are the 6 R's inspired by, again, His Grace Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. So here the Brahmanas, here we're talking more about, they felt great remorse. If we see the translation, anvitapyan. They felt great remorse. What was the reason? Krita agasaha. they committed big sinful to consider, to neglect God, and that too who is, and God's devotees, the Krishna's devotees, and that too yachakas, like forget about Krishna's friends. Ordinary yachaka comes, and that too food. You know, as Radha Govind Maharaj said, someone who is hungry does not need a parichay. His hunger is the parichay, right? Parichay means identity. You don't need to ask the identity of a hungry person. Why are you hungry? You know, why? Like, that's not our job to ask. If we are in a position to give them food or prasadam, that's like just giving gold, more than distributing gold in Kali Yuga is distributing prasad. Prabhupada was very, very, you know, like one time Prabhupada saw, and actually His Grace Kripa Moy Prabhu in New Vrindavan was sharing the story, which we have heard multiple times, but again, when Prabhupada's disciples share this, becomes, you know, like His Grace Gauranga Prabhu was saying, like, Shukha Mukhad Amrita Dravya Samritam. Mango is nectarian, but when Shukha or parrot touches it, it becomes even nectarian. So when Bhagavatam is nectarian, but when devotees speak it, it becomes more red nectarian. Prabhupada Katha is nectarian, but when Prabhupada disciples speak it, it becomes more nectarian, right? So he was sharing that Prabhupada's compassion, Prabhupada's heart, Prabhupada's, you know, like love for everyone. This may be, for some of you who have not seen this, would be a little hard to relate. But in India, there are a lot of areas. There's not like I would not say dumpster. Like these, the dumpsters are in US are much more like civilized. The bags or the food or whatever is inside the dumpster. But in India, it's more like a dumping ground. Like at some places, there's like a dumping ground, which is like maybe like a big hall, and everyone comes and throws stuff there, right? And in many places, you'll see that, I'm sure, whether it's North India, South India, right? And South India also there, right? The cows are coming, the pigs are coming, everyone is coming, and they're finding something out of it. Some rag collectors are also coming and getting some plastic to sell, you know, everyone is searching like treasures from dumping ground, right? And it's like unfortunate there are people who are searching for food from there. So, you know, prasadam plates, so my prasadam plates, imagine 1,000 devotees have prasadam, and no matter how much we tell, how much we communicate, there are always some people who will leave things on their plate, which is not recommended, but somehow Krishna has his own divine plan, and the dogs eat it, the animals eat it from the dumping ground. But when Prabhupada saw even some kids, some poor kids were taking food out of those plates and eating, and, you know, getting some rice, some sabji or some roti, half, you know, 1/4, whatever was left. They were eating it, and they were trying to. Prabhupada started crying, and Prabhupada that, you know, the 10-mile radius of the temple, no one should be hungry. This was Prabhupada. This is Prabhupada's compassion so much, and not saying, hey, give them, you know, chapamala, right? They need food. They are hungry. That's, you know. Otherwise, why? I mean, no one would happily go to a dumping ground to get morsels of food. So just reminds, you know, how compassionate Prabhupada, such a big heart. So back to this verse, they made an offense to ignore small boys, that to Krishna's friends. Vishwa Ishwaraha, beautiful. Vishwa Ishwara, they're the two lords, Krishna and Balaram, Jagannath, same meaning. Jagan means world, Nath means master. They're the Lord of the universe. Yachanam, they were very humble. They were humbly asking, and we ignored them. Hi. They're doing, you see, a lot of things are happening. They're reflecting and they're repenting on their actions. We ignored, we have sinned, we are bad, right? They're genuinely having this great reflection and realizing. So all the first 3 hours are happening in this verse, if you see, right? They are reflecting upon what they did, correct? We denied the request of the two lords. That was very bad. We have sinned. We have committed great offense. Who deceptively, they often people misunderstand God because they appear to be having the same two hands and the same two legs. So we see here, this is a nice verse which is telling that how we should also can take lesson to reflect upon, to feel remorse and realize the mistake. Let's see what happens further. And any thoughts? So we covered the 6 R's, which is very important and very practical too. Again, from the Bhagavatam.
Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, Dhamma Pranam. So we are seeing that in Shastras, Matajis are getting spiritual credit from Prabhujis. So I was envious about the Mataji, but this verse is saying that Brahmanas is getting spiritual credit due to the Brahmana's wife. Also, Kaliya got the spiritual credit for his devoted Nagaputnis. So that's good for me. I'm not anymore envious to Mataji again.
Nice point. It's mutual, Of course, husband is expected to be more, mature, but there's not always the case, and more spiritually inclined, and the wife naturally follows. But that's especially in Kali Yuga, we see actually like everywhere. Forget about Iskcon, everywhere, everywhere. Like whether it's the kids' classes, more girls are there, right? In the kids' camp, right? Mataji, Shishma Mataji, all were there. More girls are there, right? Women are more spiritually inclined. In the Sunday class I do, more girls are there, more Matajis are there. In the temple also, more Matajis to service, right? Everywhere, because their heart is naturally soft. And Krishna steals their heart much faster because bhakti is simple for simple. They may not be able to quote big shlokas, or some may, or some that's not at all a criteria to test how devoted one is, right? This is like, but they are naturally more inclined. Because the wise of the Brahmanas were great devotees, the foolish Brahmanas received spiritual benefit and finally came back. So you see, the wise helped the husband to come back to senses. That's also a great lesson. Now the husband also should be humble to take it, right? Because if someone is not humble, they'll not consider their wife as devotee. But as Vaishnavas, we should know that it's not about husband or wife. If someone helps, whether it was a 2-year-old, we should take the good from everywhere. We may take it sometimes from a 2-year-old outsider, but sometimes it's hard from the insider, right? Again, familiarity breeds contempt. But here, the Brahmanas, they're wise, so the Brahmanas overcome that barrier also. Familiarity breeds contempt. They did not see their wives as just their wives. They saw them as great devotees. Then only the spiritual benefit will be there. Then only there will be eagerness to learn. Radhanath Maharaj mentions this: if you consider your wife as Dasi, oh, her name is so-and-so Dasi, then there will always be a problem. Like whatever, Manjulali Priya Devi Dasi, right? That's the name, Maharaj gives. Devi Dasi, generally that's the... But if you consider your wife as Devi, right? I know many couples, many husbands, they call their wife Devi, right? I know many of those. And when, even if we call it, fake it till you make it, right? Even if we call it, then we'll become I'm calling, maybe sometimes I should mean what I call, right? Devi means, again, respectable, right? So interestingly, today I was reading about hearing a class from His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who was mentioning who is the Lord of this universe. Well, Lord Shiva is mentioned multiple times, but he is Udasin. He has given the whole charge to Devi. You take the charge, and he is Bholenath. But so Devi takes all the charge. Devi or Durga Devi takes all the charge, and he is Bholenath. He is like doing tapasya in Himalayas. Bhole Baba. So yes, absolutely. Jokes apart, husbands should learn from wives, wives should learn from husbands, and they both should learn from each other, and the kids and the parents. So it's very healthy, because we all have some strengths and weaknesses, but we are humble. That means the container is always room to grow. I'm work in progress. I live to be corrected. That's a mode of Vaishnavas. Thank you, Prabhu. Any other thoughts on this topic or otherwise?
Prabhuji, just very quickly, last weekend at the kids camp that I had the pleasure to help volunteer at, all these kids spent so much time, and presented their projects on things that I had no idea about, and they were teaching us, and it's really inspiring and humbling that these kids, they know a lot of things that I don't know, and it makes me think of when we first got to Dallas. We were with Mataji and Prabhuji getting picked up from the airport, and their daughter was just like reciting these verses totally from memory, and she's so humble, she's like doesn't even think it's a big deal, and I'm just like astounded, so man, these kids and these devotee families, they are not to be missed. I mean, in the shlokas, Prabhuji can correct me, but doesn't it say if there's something that you sort of have to, if you don't get all the way in one life, you get born into a devotee family, and like you're just basically have a few more things you got to do, and then you're on your way. So these kids are here to help us, and they're just so amazing, Prabhuji, so inspiring, and yeah, all blessings to all the parents who are raising those kids. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Very well. Very well. That's so true. These are not ordinary people. In whatever point they have, maybe some may have 10% bhakti left, some may have 20%. Therefore, Krishna gives them birth in Vaishnava family so they can, proceed from that point and complete their bhakti journey, whatever is left. Thank you, Prabhu. Anything else before we wrap up for today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, as you mentioned about Mataji's and all. Yeah, and one more point, Prabhuji. Philip Prabhu helped us with mic setup. He was always there, always rendering service, whatever during the decoration, bringing up everything inside. And so he was so involved, not even caring about anything, just say hi. Thank you, Philip Prabhu, and of course everybody. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji, thank you for the opportunity to help. It was my distinct, very important responsibility. These little kids, they speak so soft. So, Karthik Prabhuji would be speaking very loud, and then he'd hand the microphone to a little kid. And I have to make sure to amp the volume up so that we all get to hear these wonderful children, and they are truly treasured. And so it was very, very nice to be able to amplify their beautiful words and inspiring words. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Talking about services, we have an important service tomorrow to share transcendental literature at the Rath Yatra program at Sanatan Temple. So please come. And then Sunday we have His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in Alachua. And I think all of you know very well by now that our dear Sudhir Prabhu and Renuka Mataji will be getting initiation on Monday. their first initiation by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj on Monday morning at 10 in Alachua. So you all, I think you all are coming. Please come and encourage your friends, families also to come. It's nice to be together during these special events, and also to get Maharaj's association. And also Her Grace Padmasakhi Mataji will be getting her Mantra Diksha, second initiation. And then followed by Thursday program. If you want more association of Maharaj, you can also plan to come on Thursday morning, 8 a.m. for Bhagavatam class. If you can't make it in person, you can always hear on YouTube at Iskcon Tampa, Iskcon Alachua, sorry. So this will be a lot of more sadhu sangha and sadhu seva, and thank you for all your help, and we'll have nice time tomorrow and in Alachua. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And of course, prasadam.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru ki jai, Samguru ki jai, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyam cha Nityaṁ Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaः. Hari Bol. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.